Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S. says a second day of attacks were more brutal, but not more successful. Ukraine's president remains in Kiev tonight, even though he claims Putin has named him public enemy #1. President Zelensky told citizens prepared to defend the capital by any means necessary. I want to bring in retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis tonight. He's a senior fellow and military expert with Defense Priorities. Colonel, how long realistically will Kiev hold?
You know, if it's a focused attack and the Russians have completed their setup operations, which is basically clearing out all of the Ukrainian ground forces in the vicinity that can come and help them, it could go fairly fast because at least so far it doesn't appear like other cities fights in history of the past that Ukraine actually has a significant series of defensive positions. That they would have to go through rounds and bands of different defenders. So far, it kind of looks like an open city, in which case it would not be that hard for the Russian forces to go in. The difficult part is always what happens once you get in, and then you have the biggest threat that a lot of people are claiming that the Ukrainians will come from all over the place, and they'll have guerrilla warfare and all that. So that's a big concern, but right now it doesn't look like the path is that hard for Russia to get in there.
Let me ask about that second part, because earlier in the day we saw the Ukrainian military did take back, they reclaimed an airport that Russia had seized. We saw citizens rising up. They're making their own Molotov cocktails. They're picking up guns. And then there's the official military, of course. If they hold on long enough, can they ultimately break Russia?
No, not any chance at all. In fact, I'm really a little bit troubled by this, the call of the Ukrainian, the Kiev mayor calling on his citizens to, get ready to make Molotov cocktails, handing out, as they called it, AK-47s like candy just to their citizens. They interviewed one I watched on Sky News earlier today, and the man had never even picked up a weapon, never had fired it, and yet now he's going to go and be defending his city. Here's what happens when you get people
like concerned that they're all going to die,
that don't have any idea what they're doing. They're going to get killed in large numbers, and you're going up against a trained, armored, mechanized Russian army, and it's not a fair fight in that case. I think all they're going to do is get a lot of people killed.
Oh my, okay. America uses drones in a lot of places, not always very precisely, as we've seen. Are drone strikes off the table?
No, they're not. In fact, that's one of the things that surprised me a little bit, that we haven't seen more of that. I expected actually Russia to take significant use of it. I know Ukraine had been trying to build up their drone force because both sides saw what happened in the Azerbaijan Azeri fighting in 2020, where drones were just like absolutely devastated the Azerbaijan side. And I expected to see more of that. Now it could be happening because let me just point out that there's a lot of disinformation that goes on in these kinds of situations right here. And it's so hard to get what's really ground truth reality. For example, I've seen both sides, both the Ukraine side and the Russian side, give what is clearly disinformation, something that's just not true. So it's hard to define truth from not. But I have been surprised that we don't even see, whether videos or social media clips or whatever, there just hasn't been very much. Maybe that's to come later.
Okay, so going into this weekend, if you could just tell us what we're looking at succinctly, if you could. Did Putin start with the big one, or was that more of a preview in your view?
What it appears, at least, again, I'm just piecing together various news reports, which I'm trying to get from all sides so I can try to get some idea of what's happening. It doesn't look like that Putin used his whole force. He just, sent the whole thing in all at once. It appears that he's going in methodically, and maybe he had a phased operation to where he's going to have certain units go in to try to make breakthroughs, and then later on he may have large columns come in after the fact. And if that's the case, and that would make sense to me, then it could be that after some of this tough fighting that you're seeing that going on, because whatever I say about Ukraine not being experienced, they are very, very tough and brave fighters. And so they're putting up resistance whether they're equal or not. But that can get worn down. And if Putin sends in tanks to make penetrations there, there won't be much left to resist it. So I think you're going to see in the coming hours additional waves of Russian armor.
Retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, your insight, your experience, invaluable. That's going to stick with us to think of those everyday citizens picking up those guns and the risk to them. Thank you, sir.